Our youth are unusually gifted in the gathering. And what does that actually look like? And we're going to take you back into the scriptures for a minute to a story in Luke chapter 14. This is the story of a man who has prepared for a party at his house. Everything is ready. And in those days, once everything was ready, you would send someone from the household out to say, okay, it's time to come for the party. And so the person from the household goes out and he starts telling everyone it's time for the party, and everyone says, I'm not coming. I have something else. I can't come tonight. And that servant eventually comes back to the man who planned the party and says to him, no one's coming. I love what this man says. He says in verse 21 to his servant, okay, go out quickly into the streets and the lanes of the city and bring in hither the poor and the maimed and the halt and the blind. And I want to think for just a minute, like realistically, how did that happen? What did that servant do? Because when he got to the blind man, he couldn't just be like, go down the street, at the third street on the right, turn right, it's the second house on the left. No. He had to take that man there and sit him down at the table. And the one who couldn't walk, how did that one get there? And I just imagine that servant just picking her up and carrying her and sitting her down, and one by one he goes through and he gathers these people. And then once he's got them all sat down, he goes to the Lord and says, I've done as you have commanded, and there is still room. And don't you love that lesson about the Lord? That there is still room. And so he says, okay, go out into the highways and the hedges. Okay, that's the outskirts of the city. That's the margins. That's past the city gates where he's telling them to go. You go out there, and he uses a word, compel. You compel them to come. And I think that's so interesting, because I imagine that servant going out to these people and saying, hey, you are invited to come to this place, and them saying, no, you have the wrong person. I don't think, he's not talking about me. I don't ever get invited to stuff like this. And that servant saying, no, he wants you. He specifically asked for you. There is a place at his table for you. And why? Again, we learn the character of the Lord in verse 23, that my house may be filled. That's the job of the youth. It's to fill up the house. It's to gather as many as they can. They are unusually gifted in the gathering. You are unusually gifted in the gathering.